Krishna, Avash Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Revati Mataji. Hare Krishna, Tushya Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Venkateshwar Prabhu. Shridevi Mataji ki jai. How are you, Prabhuji?
Okay, Prabhuji.
So nice to see you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji is just back after a major operation, as you are all aware. So
2.5 months in hospital. 2.5 months.
My God.
Yeah.
So still lot of restrictions now, Prabhu?
Not completed, Prabhuji. They sent me with a temporary pacemaker.
Okay.
Oh, every Tuesday somebody will come and dressing. And every Thursday I have to go for checking.
Right.
Sometimes they put permanent one.
So how long would that be?
I don't know.
Okay, they will
They not have any infection.
You just stay a bit safe now.
Yeah.
No. Welcome back, Prabhu. So nice to have you. Hare Krishna, Revati Mataji. Hare Krishna, Sita Nandini Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll start. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira
Vanachari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Hare Rama
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 Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Rama
Rama
Hare Rama
Rama
Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare
Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radha Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha
Radha
Giridhari
Giridhari
Radha
Radha
Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya
Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladev Jaya Subhadra
Gaunitai Gaur Nitai Jaya Gaur Nitai Jaya
Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai.
Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
Jaya
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 Prabhupada Jaya
Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Gurudev,
Gurudev Gurudev Jaya
Gurudev,
Jaya
Jaya
Gurudev
Gurudev.
Namaskar Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sata Sri Asi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai
Jai,
Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai
Jai,
Namacharya Shilaridas Thakur ki jai
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा गिरिधारी भगवान की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की जय गिरिराज महाराज की जय गौर निताई की जय रामनवमी महोत्सव की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna
Hare
all
Krishna,
glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
all glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga all glories to Srila Prabhupada all glories to Srila Gurudev Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Parahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyamavishkritam Tat Shrinvan Supathan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchye Naraha Bhaktya Vimuchye Naraha Bhaktya Vimuchye Naraha Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya yato anvayaditaratas Chardeva Bhigyaswarat Tene Brahmhridaye Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Varimridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Amrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Satyam Param Dhimahi Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharma Projita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmat Saranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Vastu Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayan Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va Parairishvaraha Sadhyo Rityavarudhyate Akritivihi Shushrubhishtat Kshana Hare Krishna, everybody, and welcome.
Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, that's fine. Mentioned.
Prabhu,
Yes.
today we can see Vaikuntha Sir Prabhu and Mataji. They came back from hospital.
Yeah,
Prabhu.
yes.
Yes.
We just kind of
Yeah.
formally welcome, but definitely it's nice to see them.
Yes.
We were missing Prabhuji's association, his notes, his
I
whole
had-
method of studying Bhagavatam and his commitment to Bhagavatam, definitely. So,
After 2 weeks of operation, I had infection, the stitches, and they had to redo it again. So it's
uh,
2 surgeries. Actually,
Correct.
it's almost for 2 months, Prabhu.
yeah, and I
3 months.
Uh,
swallowing problem. I could not eat anything of up to 1.5 months.
right.
They're feeding with the tube to the nose. So that was the problem.
Right. But now you're back to appetite and you're eating well at home, Prabhu?
Not well, but slowly improving.
Hmm. Yeah, we just hope and pray everything works out well, and yeah, able to have your association regularly. So Nana, welcome back, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so we were text 26, right? The last section of chapter 4.
Mm.
Chapter titled Appearance of Narad Muni, who's going to come at the end. Okay, we'll do this one. Evam pravrittasya sada bhutanam sarvatma kena yada suryat hridayam tataha.
Oh,
Yeah, read, Mati.
twice born Brahmanas. Still, his mind was not satisfied, although he engaged himself in working for the total welfare of all people.
Such an important verse. Why?
Satisfaction.
Not satisfaction.
Yes,
Yeah, not
not
satisfied.
satisfied. That is okay.
Yes.
We are never satisfied, right? That is nothing big in this. Not satisfied. But not satisfied in spite of what?
Writing all Puranas and all Vedas.
No, here what does it say?
Welfare of the
See, very important point. Why? Because in the society around us today, we see that so-called good people, who we say respectable, good, pious people. What is their motive? Their motive is to do some welfare activities for somebody, right? That's why when they make a lot of money, they have satisfied all their needs, their demands, and still they have surplus. And if they are if they have a bit of pious inclination, then naturally the mind goes to do something of welfare for people at large, correct? That's why you have so many charities. What is the purpose of that? The purpose is for welfare of all. So people who are underprivileged, who do not get some facilities that they normally would not get, these charities or these people, they do such welfare activities. So they think that just by doing welfare activities, they get satisfaction. And yes, they do get satisfaction because they are doing selflessly. I mean, in today's society, it is not totally selfless, as you're aware. They may be donating money, but there is always a selfish interest of what?
For their name and fame.
Now they have got a lot of money, they have got a lot of wealth. So now they are donating the wealth. Why? Because they have wealth, but they don't have name and fame. So they are actually, if you think about it, they are actually trading their wealth to earn fame.
yes.
That is going on in the name of so-called charity work, whatever it is, whether it is school or college or hospital or anything. They are all basically extended business transactions. So when somebody is young, they don't have money, they do business transactions with people, right? So that they can earn money. When they have earned money, they do business transaction with fame, name and fame. So it is not technically completely welfare activity. It has got some element of welfare, definitely, because he's not doing it for himself. He's doing it for others. So that is good. That has to be appreciated. But it is not the ultimate welfare. What is the proof that it is not ultimate welfare from a material context, I mean?
Because motivation is there.
Huh.
Yeah, earning fame and name and fame is the motivation behind it.
Correct. But they feel happy, no? By giving charity.
For time being, they are happy.
Yes.
Temporary.
Yes.
Temporary.
So when they give the first charity, they have name comes in the newspaper, in the news, and all the online media, they're so happy. Oh, I gave.
Happiness.
Then he realizes, oh my God, now I've made this institute and I've given the money, I've built it. Now I have to again keep giving money for it to be maintained.
Yes.
Right? Then what happens to his satisfaction? What happens to his welfare activity?
Anxiety, stress.
Then he gets stressed. Oh my God, now I have to earn more to be able to donate more.
Yeah.
Right? So the welfare activity cannot give long-term satisfaction. We see that happening around us. And the ultimate proof is Vyasadeva himself. That's why this verse is important. Vyasadeva, through his own example, is teaching us that even though he was engaged in the highest welfare activity, now Vyasadeva did not do this for name and fame, right? He did that as a matter of his service to humanity. There was no motivation. In spite of doing that, and that too, he did his work perfectly. See, in normal charities or something, we find irregularities, we find corruption there also, we find so many problems, But in case of Vyasadeva, we cannot point a finger. There is no element of error. There is no element of motivation. Complete 100% welfare activity. Now, imagine Vyasadeva, after doing 100% welfare activity, is feeling dissatisfied. So if we do even 50% welfare activity, how can we be satisfied? Can't, not possible. But people are trying, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, and then I'll get satisfaction, then I'll get happiness. It is impossible. And this verse is leading us towards that. Although he was doing welfare activity for everybody, his mind was not satisfied. And what did he do after that? So many times we are also dissatisfied. And then what do? We lament. We lament, we talk to people, and we throw more lamentation at them. All the dirt in our heart, we use others as our dustbin, and we throw the dirt in somebody else. And then we contaminate them, and we contaminate ourselves even more. And the contamination spreads like the virus, contagious. So this lamentation is very contagious. So again, Vyasadeva, he's teaching us in the next verse, what did he do? He felt dissatisfied, correct. But what did he do? That's the important part. Nati prasida tridayaha sarasvatyastate shuchau vitarkayan vipitastha idam vacha dharmavid.
Thus the sage, being dissatisfied at heart, at once began to reflect, because he knew the essence of religion, and he said within himself.
So what did he do? After being dissatisfied?
You want to reflect?
Reflect.
Yeah.
So see, Bhagavatam teaches us to reflect, but unfortunately, we have to go to some seminars and pay $100,000 or something, and then tell them to teach us how to reflect. They teach us all this motivation, this self-help seminars. You should reflect. If you have done something bad, you should reflect. So Vyasadeva is teaching, because he felt dissatisfaction, he reflected. Reflect means what?
Lamentation.
Is it?
No.
What
Thinking
is
of,
reflection?
I mean, to think
But
process.
rewinding.
What wrong have you done?
We
Sorry,
was
didn't hear you,
rewinding
Sachmata?
it. Yeah.
To try to find out the cause of this dissatisfaction.
Trying
Yes.
to find out the cause.
Yes.
So how do you do that? Like what does, let's focus on the word reflect, reflection. The word reflect comes from reflection. So reflection is what? It is not the real thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is not a real thing, but it's a reflection
Glimpse
over something else.
over something
So the
else.
existence of that reflection is not there. It doesn't exist on its own. The original thing is reflected in some other surface. Like the chapter 15 in Bhagavad Gita, the reflection of the banyan tree. So reflect means what? Something has already happened.
It's like a shadow of.
Yes, that's right. It's a shadow, but something has happened. Now you can't do anything about it. You can't change it. You can't do anything. It's finished. So you can only cry about it and lament, or you can reflect. Reflect means what? You trace, like, when there's a reflection, you, like, supposing it's a tree, you can reflect, like you can trace the thing, right? You trace around it. So when something has happened, you reflect. Reflect means you just see, okay, what started this? Then what happened? What did I do? Then what happened? Then what did he do? Then what happened? Then what happened? And what is the
It's like analyze.
analysis?
Life,
So that's why people now, they make it a process. So you dissociate yourself emotionally from it, and like a look at it as if you're doing a peer review for somebody. You understand what's a peer review? Means you're not connected with what has happened. Another person who has nothing to do with what has happened, he's analyzing the sequence of events with the intention that he's going to review what has happened and come up with some recommendation or some plan of action. So that is what is called a review. And review can only happen if you reflect properly, without any bias. It is very important in our day-to-day life also. Specifically, when there is a change that we bring in our life, whatever change it is, good or bad, usually more with good changes, we need to reflect on what we are doing and how we can do it differently. Sorry, Prabhu?
We go back to the original and find out what happened.
Yes. So this reflection is very important for everybody to analyze where we are. It's like a stock taking, like we in the shops, they do stock taking. Whatever is stocks are there today, they will see how much is there and they will order more. But unless they know what is already there, how will they know how much to order? True or no? There should be space also, to order and keep. So if you don't do proper stock taking, how will you order quantity? So similarly, if we do not know what is wrong with me, not with others, with me. It could be my behavior, it could be my habits, it could be my attitude, it could be my intent of reading Prabhupada's book regularly, which I'm not able to do, anything. So anything that I would like to improve on, first I have to reflect and see where I am at. Why am I not able to do it currently? And then we review, okay, what can I change so that I can achieve my objective? Right? It's a process. It's not you sit one day and you finish it off. So it takes a while, you reflect. But once you finish the reflection, you should come up with some plan of action that you have to do. So that's why it is said, when we reflect, it is better to do it with somebody. Why? Because then we become accountable. If I think in my mind, from tomorrow I'm going to change, and I've written things down nicely. We write it in the notebook very nicely, and then we fold the notebook, keep it in the shelf nicely as it is, and then next day same story happens. But if we discuss it with somebody, in the modern terms they say buddies. You tell them I'm going to do this, and the buddy actually calls on you and says, Prabhu, have you done this? Oh, no, sorry. No, please do it tomorrow. So there is some accountability. When there is accountability, there is a better chance of success. Right. Of course, the motivation has to still come from that person only. You can only motivate and push a little bit, but you can't do it for that person. So this reflection is very, very important. So first thing Vyasadeva did is he reflected. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes a golden sentence. If we have golden ink, we should actually underline with golden ink. I don't have, but if you have, you can do so. What is that sentence? It is in the second line. Perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. If you are satisfied, you don't need the world to tell you, Prabhu, you look very satisfied and peaceful. What you are doing is perfect. We don't need that. So the satisfaction in the heart is our measure, is our, what should we say, like a thermometer to measure temperature, right? So the satisfaction in the heart is the real way in which we can understand whether I am connected to Krishna or not, whether I am actually following the instructions of my Guru Maharaj and Prabhupada or not. That is the real measure. You know, sometimes devotees say, I'm doing, but I don't know whether I'm doing correctly, or I'm not getting any, any feeling. Yeah, I don't know if it's happened, but devotees go through that. So this line is the mirror for us. First thing is, are we feeling satisfied? When we chant, do we feel satisfied? When we offer to the Lord, do we feel satisfied? When we do arti to the Lord to the best of our ability, do we feel satisfied? When we read Prabhupada's books, do we feel satisfied? I mean, it might not be 100% satisfaction, but at least we feel nice. What is satisfaction? I feel nice about it. Like sometimes when you meet somebody and we talk nicely, you feel happy, right? I mean, you feel a nice feeling. Very positive vibes, as they say. So bhakti is not just positive vibes. It is about the bliss that is coming from the source of all bliss. And because of our connection to that source by our daily activities, by our daily sadhana, we experience that bliss. And what is the proof that we are experiencing bliss? Proof is we have some satisfaction. We have some good feeling within us. That is the key thing. So our Guru Maharaj says that the sincerity of a devotee is tested in how long he is able to sit with Bhagavatam without anybody watching him and without anybody being with him. Just like we like to be with friends, right? So that we can talk, we can share. We like being with friends, means very close friends. So until a devotee makes Srimad Bhagavatam his friend, just like a very close friend, he cannot claim to say that I'm making some progress. Because you feel connected, right? Why do you like talking to your friend? Because you feel connected. So when we connect to Krishna through Bhagavatam, I mean, Krishna is Bhagavatam, but when we connect with him through this Bhagavatam, his literary form, then we feel that same enthusiasm to read, and we feel the same satisfaction and bliss that we would feel when we connect to somebody very close to us. That is the perfection. So Prabhupada writes, perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. This satisfaction ultimately will lead us to the 9 stages and ultimately take us to prema one day. Then when he reflects, Vyasadeva, what does he reflect on? So we'll see the process of Vyasadeva's reflection so that we can learn from it. Okay. Dhrita vratena hi maya chandamsi guruho agnaya manita nirigena grihitam danushāsanam. Bharata Vyapadeshena Heyam Yarthascha Pradarshitaha Drishyate Yatra Dharmadi Sri Shudrabhir Apyuta.
I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual master, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of the Mahabharata, by which even women, Shudras, and others, friends of the twice born, can see the path of religion.
So as part of a reflection, what does he do first? First, he analyzes what he has done and why he has done. Right? It is very important. What are we doing and why are we doing? Actually, the why is more important than the what. Because if the motivation itself is not right, then what you do can never give you satisfaction. So here Vyasadeva is giving us two things, what and why. So what is he doing? He said that under strict disciplinary vows, means he's followed all the rules and regulations perfectly. He's the one who's compiled them anyway. Of course, they are laws of Krishna, but he has compiled them. So he has followed the vows, under which he has unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas. Means there was no personal motivation. There was no pretense that I'm just doing this, but I'm going to observe something else. No, whatever is there as per rules and regulations, he has not only compiled them, he's also followed them. Further, he has, I've shown the import. So to help the twice born and the low caste, and as we discussed last time, it is not a discrimination, but it is a consideration for those who are not able to assimilate the purport of Vedic knowledge. There are certain sections of people, they just cannot apprehend that. So rather than discriminating the same Vedic imports, he made it accessible to such people through Mahabharata. So why is he thinking like that? Because he should not feel that I have done for these people, but I have not done for the downtrodden. You know, like sometimes people have that feeling, I hope I have done welfare activity for everybody. So he says that I've done this, but I've also done the Mahabharata to welcome this. So I've done my duty properly. The best that I could do, I've done. So that is the first part of reflection is, have I followed what I should have been doing? Have I? And if I followed, what have I achieved after following that? That is the first part of reflection. After he's shared that, then he goes to the second part of the reflection, which is text 30. In this part, I just wanted to highlight one again sentence in the purport. Actually, two sentences, the last two. All these intricacies of Vedic knowledge are systematically presented in the Mahabharata for the understanding of woman class, laborer class, and unqualified members of Brahman, Kshatriya, or Vaishya families. So Mahabharata is not just, I mean, all of us know that anyway, but sometimes people do not understand the value of Mahabharata. Just because there are different versions and there are different interpretations of Mahabharata. I remember Bir Krishna Maharaj mentioning that although Gita is part of Mahabharata, Maharaj said that Mahabharata does not have a disciplic succession, just like Ramayana. The basic story is same, but some of the pastimes are a bit different in different versions of these epics. So Mahabharata, which was originally written by Vyasadeva, which originally had Bhagavad Gita, is also considered as the essence of Vedic knowledge, which is presented systematically not in a philosophical form, but in a story form, in a historical narration. Why? So that people in general who are not that intelligent can understand the purport of Vedic knowledge through hearing the story. And in that story, Vyasadeva very expertly placed the Bhagavad Gita, which is full philosophy. Bhagavad Gita has no story. There is no story in Bhagavad Gita. No katha. So if he had just given Bhagavad Gita, then people would not have understood. They would not have been interested also. Even nowadays we see when we talk to somebody about Bhagavad Gita, they're not that interested. But when we start talking to them about Mahabharata or the character of Karna and Arjun and those conversations, then they are a bit interested. It's another story that they feel they have something to add to because they also know something about it. But the point is, these stories, they attract common people's attention. And through that attraction, Vyasadeva gives them the essence of all Vedic wisdom through Bhagavad Gita. So in this age, Prabhupada writes at the last, in this age, the Mahabharata is more essential than the original Vedas. And also in Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita is the most essential. So that's why when we...
Veda.
Yes, it's called the fifth Veda, correct, Prabhuji. And that's why when Bhagavad Gita is usually discussed amongst new people, there are always references that naturally come to Mahabharata. So when we talk to new people and there's discussion, especially when it is about the first chapter or the intricacies of Arjun's nature, then obviously the background of Mahabharata comes in. And we should actually take it upon us to describe the characters in the right way. When I say the right way, meaning as we hear from senior devotees and acharyas. Because nowadays there's a fashion, you know. Fashion is what? If you can glorify the bad people and condemn the good people, then you're considered a pandit. Arey, this guy thinks differently. Everybody knows Duryodhan is bad, but if he can glorify Duryodhan by highlighting some, you know, childhood he did this and he studied the Veda and he did that and actually he was a pandit. Oh, because they are fools, they don't even know that much. So when somebody says something that is out of their common perception, they feel, arey, wow, he's a great pandit. But we know if we ask them some praman, they'll fall flat. Because there is no praman. All the praman is here in the speculative head. So it is upon us to actually present these characters very nicely. And I don't know if any of you have seen, there is a wonderful series on Mahabharata characters by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu on YouTube. So he has taken each character right from, you know, like I think Shantanu also might be there, but like Bhishma Dev, Dron, all the Pandavas, the most prominent Kauravas like Duryodhan, Dushasan, Karna. He's taken one character and he speaks about one character for 1 to 1.5 hours. One character. In their details, right from their childhood, what happened, the whole story of their life, and presents it in the right context. And there is a wonderful conversation, that character introduction of Karna that he has. And in that session, he smashes all these so-called, speculations that people have about Karna. People feel somehow they glorify him and say, actually, he was better than Arjun. But because, you know, his kavach was taken off and blah, 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 he was the person who was destined, you know, they took everything away and so he had to die like that. And anyway, he was not killed in the right way, in a moral way. So they glorify him. And Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has taken the same argument and is presented in the perfect devotional light.
Yes.
Yeah, and like just to give an example, he said that Karna was defeated 3 times before the Mahabharata war by Arjun. And that time Karna had his kavach and kundal. So how can you say just because his kavach and kundal was taken away, he lost the upper hand he had on Arjun? Not right. So it's just an example, but it's just good to know. So here that's why Prabhupada says, understanding Mahabharata correctly through the eyes of Bhagavad Gita is more essential in this age. Okay. So move on to 30. Tathapi batame dahyo hyatma chaivatmana vipu asampanna iva bhati brahma varchasya sattamaha.
I am feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required by the Vedas.
So in 29, what did he say? That I have done everything perfectly for welfare of everybody, for the haves and also the kind of not have-nots, but the underprivileged. I've catered to everybody. In spite of that, I'm feeling incomplete. Bata me dahiya. So I'm feeling some bata. Bata means I'm feeling some defect. I'm feeling it. So sometimes we feel miserable or we feel incomplete because we feel we have not done something perfectly. But here Vyasadeva is saying, I've actually done everything perfectly. Still I'm feeling incomplete. That's a difference. That's a difference between our feeling incomplete and Vyasadev's feeling incomplete. For us, feeling incomplete is natural. We are incomplete, so we feel incomplete. What is the big deal? But Vyasadeva is a literary incarnation of Krishna, and he has done everything perfectly. So how can he feel incomplete? No, even he is feeling incomplete. And then the third part of reflection. So what is the first part? First part is you see what you have done properly, whether it was done in the right way or not. Second part of the reflection is, what is the result of my activity that I've done? What is the result? Usually bad. That's why we reflect, right? If it's good, we don't reflect so much. So what is it that has happened? And then the third part is the most important part. The conclusion, actually. Before you come to a plan of action. That is 31. Let's read that. Kim va bhagavata dharma naprayena nirupitaha priyaha paramahamsanam ta eva hyachyuta priyaha. Translation.
This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord.
Correct. So he says, what has he done properly? Then he says, how does he feel? Now he's saying why he feels like that. Or according to him, why he feels like that. It might not be the real reason, but that is the reason that comes to his mind. So that is very important. That's a third part of reflection. So what does he say? He says that I feel incomplete. Why? Because maybe. See, the word maybe is very important, because if we feel I know the real cause of my feeling incomplete, then there is a problem. Why?
That means I have already come to a conclusion.
I've already come to a conclusion. That means I don't need any help. I'm perfect. I feel incompleteness, but still I feel I'm perfect. And if that feeling comes, then our growth and our reflection is totally wasted. Yes. So see, we follow this whole section is so interesting and important. He's saying maybe I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord when I compiled all these Vedic literatures for both sections. I did not specifically point out devotional service, which is dear both to the perfect beings and the Lord. So he gives the reason and he says why he's thinking like that. You see, there is a scientific analysis here. It is not just emotion. Oh, maybe I should have done this. Oh, maybe I should have done. No. Maybe I am feeling incomplete because I did not point this. Why? Because actually this devotional service is very important and dear to the Lord and to his devotees. So that is his analysis, his diagnosis based on his personal reflection. And so this is very important for us in our day-to-day life. Whether we are doing we want any change that we need to bring about for any external activities, whether at work, whether at home, or whether it is to do with our spiritual life. Constant reflection, specifically in the right company of devotees, is extremely important and very valuable. So the more we do that on a regular basis, the more we increase our chances of success in whichever direction it might be. Doesn't matter. But reflection is very important. And Vyasadeva himself, through his example, is demonstrating it to us. So here, Prabhupada writes in the purport, the dissatisfaction which was being felt by Vyasadeva is expressed herein in his own words. And then just the third sentence, the next after that, Prabhupada writes, unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. This is also a very important sentence here. I'll read that again. Unless one is fixed in normal condition of service. What do you mean by normal condition?
Servitorship.
Sorry, Mataji?
Servitorship.
Servitorship. Serve whom?
Lord.
The Lord. How do we serve the Lord?
It comes from the heart.
By the senses, by the devotees.
Yeah.
Correct. So we serve the Lord by serving his devotees. It doesn't mean we don't serve the Lord directly. Of course, we do TT worship by serving directly. But even when we serve directly, we serve the Lord through his devotees by following the advice and guidance and instruction of his devotees. So serving Krishna can happen when we are attached to serving devotees. So that is our normal condition of service. Unless that happens, Prabhupada writes, not only living entities, even the Lord is dissatisfied. So if the Lord is dissatisfied, how can living entities be dissatisfied? Only when the Lord is satisfied, living entities can also be satisfied. So this is the important part. Now, when we sincerely reflect and we have a plan of action, then something miraculous happens. Like if we sincerely want to improve, not because we are forced to, or we have to show somebody, or we have to prove something to somebody. No. We sincerely want to do something for the Lord, and we have reflected and we have come up with a plan of action. Something miraculous happens. And I'm sure if you reflect, everyone here is a senior devotee practicing for many, many years. I'm sure in some form or the other, you will have this experience. That actually when we go through this process of Vyasadeva, what is that miracle? The miracle is Krishna, he makes some miracle happen. Sometimes we least expect and it happens without any effort on our side. Is it not? It just happens. So in Vyasadev's case, what miracle happened? Is the next two verses. Tasyaivam khilamatmanam manyamanasya khidyataha krishnasya narado abhyagad ashramam pragudaritam.
As mentioned before, Narada reached the cottage of Krishna, Dvaipayan Vyasa on the banks of Saraswati just as Vyasadeva was regretting his defects.
So the miracle was Krishna, of course, he is Krishna himself, Vyasadeva, literary incarnation. But because he felt this, and it was, the reflection was a maybe. How did Krishna reciprocate? He reciprocated by
Sending Narada.
And by Narada
there,
Muni.
so that the maybe can become this is why.
Must.
Because we need the guidance of Guru. Why? Otherwise we are speculating, no? Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. Always it's going on in our mind. That is our own speculation. But when the Guru comes or a senior devotee comes and says, Prabhu, you just do this, right? And if we are in the right path, even we may be thinking on those lines, but there may be other thoughts that also come with it. But when a senior devotee or Guru gives us a direction and says this, then we become very firm, we become very fixed. And that helps us make progress when we are not thinking so many directions. We are focused. So here Krishna sends Narad Muni. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the vacuum felt by Vyasadeva was not due to his lack of knowledge. Bhagavad Dharma is purely devotional service of the Lord, to which the monist has no access. So it is not that he didn't know, that's why he felt incomplete. But he did not focus on something that he knew he should focus. But somehow he got a bit sidetracked for various reasons. And that's not because he did not do his duty properly, but somehow he did not focus on the most important part, keeping the Kali Yuga in mind. And then somewhere in the middle, Prabhupada writes, although Vyasadeva was an empowered divinity, he still felt dissatisfaction because in none of his works were the transcendental activities of the Lord properly explained. Yes. So this is Vyasadeva's conclusion. So when sometimes people say, I've read the Puranas and Vedas and I don't understand anything, is it something unexpected?
No.
It is expected. Are Baba, the person who's compiled the Vedas and Puranas, he feels incomplete, he feels dissatisfied, and by reading the Puranas, not understanding them, how can you expect to be happy and satisfied? Impossible. And that's why Vyasadeva himself had to compile something completely different from what he has already compiled before, which is going to be the essence of everything that he has compiled so far. So if one has access to that, then one need not have separate reading or understanding of any other subject matter that was compiled before. So this is the whole crux and the theme of this section. And then the last verse in this chapter. Tam abhigyaya sahasa pratyuthaya gatam munihi pujayam asa vidivam naradam sura pujitam.
All the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, and giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator.
So as soon as Narad came, how did he welcome?
He got up.
He immediately got up. And it was not that he was watching some movie or something. You're watching a movie and suddenly a devotee comes or Maharaj comes. What will happen? What will go on in our mind? Oh my God, Maharaj is here. What am I doing? Right? But here he was actually meditating on what? He was reflecting on Krishna only, right? It's related to Krishna only. But as soon as his Guru Maharaj walked in, what did he do? And that is another learning for us, that when senior Vaishnavas come, whether they come with prior notice or they just come and knock your door, they should be welcomed. So Vyasadeva got up respectfully Nowadays in the homes, you have got all this home automation. So you are sitting on the sofa watching the TV and suddenly somebody's at the door, ting tong, and then a small, there's those visual panels are there in the wall. You can see who's standing there. Then on the mobile phone, you have a app. You just press that and the door will open automatically. And the person walks in and you're still sitting in the sofa and you look at him and say, yeah, kya hai? What? What do you want? Oh, hello, come sit. You not even got up. You don't even open the door. Forget welcoming him and telling him to sit and getting up. So this is where we are, and we think, oh, it's so advanced and technologically advanced. I don't even need to get up from my sofa and open the door. I'm so advanced. Yeah, you're so advanced. You'll have stroke and heart attack, and in a few years you'll be gone. Hari bol. That is progress. Right. So, I think people before would not have given this too much thought. But now as we move into Kali Yuga and we see all these things happen, for us to tell somebody, bhai, when somebody comes to your house, you should get up and respectfully welcome that person first. And at least smile. Sometimes when you call people also in the phone, how are you? Not too bad. Not too bad. So sometimes you don't know, like not just people even sometimes when you're calling for official work or something, when they say not too bad, you are not sure whether they're in a bad mood or that's how they normally talk. It takes a while for you to understand, Why? Because people are so morose. People are so dissatisfied. People are unhappy. Even when some close person comes, there is no smile in the face. There is no welcoming attitude. Why? Because they themselves are unhappy. Not that they don't have any affection for you or they think you're bad, but they themselves are so disturbed. So we see whatever it is, whenever, I'm sure you've got experience, we go out to do program in somebody's house. Most of the times, I would say, so far 99% of the times, at least the host, they come and they welcome because they have got that culture. They know, okay, Bhagavad Gita is being, like when we go, obviously we do Kirtan and Bhagavad Gita, that's our only business. So they know that somebody is coming to discuss that, they must be welcomed and nicely and respectfully. So at least there's a smile on the face, usually, most of the times. But when you have these social gatherings, sometimes, there is no respect, there is no smile, and people meet each other as if they have come from a cremation ground, like somebody has died and they have this big morose face. Those smileys they do now, that the lips is like this. So first thing, Vyasadeva, he got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji. And Brahma is who? Brahma is Narad's father only.
Yeah.
So in this case, it is not a very disciplic succession long that is there. It is just the son has come. So the respect you would have given to the father, you're giving to the son. But interestingly, Brahmaji, why? Because he's a creator. He's the first created being. So if Brahmaji was to come in front of us, maybe we can't conceive if Brahma comes. But say Srila Prabhupada was to come.
Even that also cannot conceive.
We also can't conceive that, but at least we see Prabhupada's photograph and we can see him interacting with other devotees during his time. So we can at least dream that, okay, what if Prabhupada walked into my house? I know sometimes devotees dream about Prabhupada, which is good. So if Prabhupada actually walks in, what will we do? Prabhupada walks into the temple. Imagine we are doing Prabhupada's Guru Puja and we are singing. And Prabhupada actually walks into the Radha Giridhari temple that he himself installed many years back. What is the feeling? It's a different feeling, right? So the same feeling that we would get when Prabhupada walks in and the same reciprocation that we would extend to him in terms of that excitement, in terms of the respect, giving him a nice asan, giving him a nice place to sit and requesting him to tell us something, to guide us in devotional service, look after his needs, have nice prasadam for him, all these things we extend to his disciples who are currently with us. And that's why devotees never leave an opportunity to serve a senior devotee. What to talk about Prabhupada's disciples. So whenever they come, they just, like sometimes fighting for service in the right spirit, of course. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad thing to have. So whatever respect the person in the top of the sampradaya commands, anybody who follows in that sampradaya should be given the same respect. So Prabhupada used to say that you should respect my god brothers as much as you respect me. That's another question that he had also said, don't associate with them, but give them the same respect that you give me. Meaning, you should know your boundaries. When you see them, you should pay dandavat. But you don't have to go with them and listen to their katha or go with them to the temple. I'm giving you all that you need to not only progress in spiritual life, but actually go back. Don't worry. So this whole section so nicely at the last takes us through that whole process of Vyasadev's dissatisfaction, Vyasadev's reflection, and the miracle and reciprocation of Krishna by sending Narad Muni. And this very organically, very naturally moves into chapter 5. So we'll continue. Sutta uvacha athatam sukhamasina upasinam brihachavaha devarshi praha viprarshim vina pani smayatva.
Sutta Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the rishi amongst the Brahmanas, Vedavyasa.
So, as the sage among gods, Deva Rishi, Narada is given the title Deva Rishi. Just like a king is supposed to be Raja Rishi, Raja Rishi. Imam Rajar Shayo Viduhu, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So he was comfortably seated as arranged by Vyasadeva. And then what did Narad Muni do? Very interesting. Smiled. He smiled. Vyasadeva smiled and welcomed him. Narad sat on the seat, and what did he do? He smiled. So is it not a blissful process?
Yes, he's very happy.
Imagine in a company, if the boss comes to the house, are you smiling and blissful or you're stressful?
Stressful.
Right? Stressful. Right? And of course, even when a senior devotee comes, we feel a little bit of transcendental stress, but that is transcendental. Why? Because we want to do everything perfectly to the best of our ability.
Yes.
But we are not worried that he'll punish me or he'll get angry at me. Right? So that stress is good. But that stress is overpowered by what? By bliss.
Yeah.
By bliss, because a person coming in, just like Narad Muni, he came and he sat down and he smiled. And when somebody smiles, you smile. And there is an exchange of bliss.
Yeah.
And that is that bliss connection. It's a connection. But then Prabhupada in the purport, he writes, why did Narad Muni smile? He could have asked him straight away, hey Narad, hey Vyasadeva, hey, how are you? I might. So Prabhupada writes, Narad was smiling because he well knew the great sage Vyasadeva and the cause of his
disappointment.
He's the guru, he's a spiritual master. He knows. He knows what is the defect. Why is my disciple feeling incomplete? So as a disciple, we should have complete 100% faith in our guru. Not 99.99. Then it's offensive. We should have 100% faith in the guru. And that is developed in association again. By connecting deeply with our guru. Because guru is connecting us to Prabhupada and Parampara, and ultimately connecting us to Krishna, the source of all bliss. So again, by being connected to Guru, we experience that bliss. So every Guru knows what is my disciple's defect, and based on that, the Guru tailor makes the activities for that particular disciple. So that's why it is said that every Guru has two types of instructions. One is a general instruction, and the other one is a tailor-made specific instruction for that particular devotee. Sometimes it's an instruction, different instruction for husband, different for wife, because the Guru knows that they need different instructions. So on one hand, there's a common instruction. So what could be an example of a common instruction, say, of Guru Maharaj, of any Guru, I mean, a living Guru in ISKCON today?
Never leave ISKCON.
Never leave ISKCON. Thank you. Because I know Mataji is Guru Maharaj. His holy name is Bhakti Charu Maharaj. His mantra is that whatever happens, whether somebody hits you, kicks you, abuses you, whatever it is, never leave ISKCON. He says it in pretty much every discussion.
Lectures.
Absolutely. So that's a common thing for all. Then what could be a personalized instruction, if anybody of you have received?
Leave everything and come to Vrindavan.
Oh, did he tell you that?
Yes.
Hari bol.
Yeah.
So, are you planning?
Guru Maharaj's blessing, so it will happen someday. I have full faith in him. So.
That's it. Wow, so nice. So nice. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just an example to say that he knows. So, and thanks for mentioning this, Mataji, Malti Mataji, that your Guru Maharaj told you to leave everything and go to Vrindavan. Now, if somebody takes that instruction, I mean, when you share it with somebody or in a forum of devotees, somebody might think, oh, Maharaj told Mataji that maybe I should also do that. Because Guru said to one of the disciples, it must be common to all. So maybe let me leave everything in New Zealand and go and settle in Vrindavan. And our Guru Maharaj says that is sure short recipe for disaster and destruction of your personal and spiritual life. And he actually gave us an example of it. Interestingly, you talked about that. He gave us an example exactly of that, of a devotee based in US who suddenly had this brainwave. You know, must have heard Maharaj or somebody talk about that it's good to settle in Vrindavan, especially when we do nectar of instruction, you know, last 3 verses, everybody gets inspired and motivated to live next to Radhakund. So this devotee in US, he said, he decided he's going to sell everything. He had a business, he had a house, just sold everything and went to Vrindavan to stay. And he was advised against doing that because it's a very rash decision. But he was fixed. And then guess what happened? When he went to Vrindavan, first 2-3 months, he was in bliss, he was in ecstasy. And the next 2 months, he became a bit grounded. And the next few months was miserable. Why? Because in Vrindavan, he could only see people doing bad things happening in the temple, bad roads, bad. So he came to Vrindavan, but all he could see after coming to Vrindavan was bad things in Vrindavan. And then, being totally disgusted, he left Vrindavan again and went back to US. And he had to start all over again. So Maharaj just gives an example to this, that these instructions should be very specific. And we should not adopt specific instruction to a specific devotee for our own selves. In any case, if you are in doubt, ask. Before you take that decision, ask.
Our Guru Maharaj also said in the last instruction, last lecture. Wherever you stays, preach Krishna consciousness.
Correct.
If you go to Vrindavan, maybe you will not get the job, you cannot feed your family. But where you are staying, just preach Krishna consciousness.
Mm. So this is very, very, very important. I mean, just having the faith that my guru knows what my incompleteness is, what I need to do, is very important. So then how did Narad respond to the reflection, to the conclusion of Vyasadeva, is what is going to be described here. Narada uvacha parasarya mahabhaga bhavata kacchidatmana paritushyati sharira atma manasa eva va. Translation? Anybody?
Addressing Vyasadeva, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you go, Mataji, you go.
Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parasara, Narada inquired, "Are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization?"
And then maybe we'll do the next one as well, because this is in one sequence. So 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Jigyasitam susampannam apite mahadadbhutam kritavan bharatam yastvam sarvartha paribrimhitam.
Your inquiries were full and your studies were all well fulfilled. And there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained.
Jigyasitam adhitam cha brahma yat sanatanam tathapi shochasyanam akritartha iva prabhu.
You have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as the knowledge derived through form. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu?
Okay, so this is how Narad starts addressing the issue. So text 2, what does he say? He inquires. He first asks a question. So before we give any opinion on somebody's issue or somebody's question or somebody's inquiry, we should understand the context very well. And sometimes to understand the context or the need of that person, it is good to ask some questions. So you'll see even in seminars, in workshops, sometimes the facilitator, they ask a lot of questions at the beginning to the audience to understand where the audience is situated, what are the needs of the audience, and on that basis they can cater their communication accordingly. So here he's asking that, are you satisfied by identifying with body and mind as objects of self-realization? You can only realize yourself through the subtle and gross senses, right? The gross body and the senses. So are you satisfied? And he knows he's not satisfied, but he's still asking that question because, when you say, sometimes when you feel dissatisfied, the more you express your dissatisfaction, you feel a bit, relieved, or I shared my problem. So as the guru, he's again asking that question so that the disciple can relieve himself of the dissatisfaction. So Prabhupada here writes that ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as self or the mind as self, but Vyasadeva should not have done so. So we use the body and mind to understand the self, but ordinary people consider the body and mind as the self. You see the difference? And then Prabhupada concludes, one cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to material body and mind. So he's asking a very important, pertinent question, although he knows Vyasadeva already is on the transcendental plane, but still he's asking that question just to set the pace for him to answer eventually. Then in text 3, what does he say? That your inquiries are full and your studies are also well fulfilled. Means it has actually, whatever the reason that you made inquiries and you did the studies, it actually is fulfilled. Means it has been successful. The purpose of your study has been fulfilled. So you are successful. And then he said that there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work like Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. So you see, what Narad Muni is saying is exactly what Vyasadeva had also reflected. Remember, we just did that in 28 and 29 in the previous chapter. Vyasadeva said, I've done everything, I've compiled, I've also written Mahabharata for the twice born. So his reflection has been confirmed correct by his guru. You see that? So that means what? That he's on the right track. His reflection was on the right track. So guru also gave the same diagnosis that he himself found out when he reflected. And that's also how we should feel. So whatever is there in our heart, whatever reflection we have, we should run it past guru or a senior devotee. So if they have the same feedback as we feel we have, then we are on the right track. So this is like a confirmation. It's a scientific process, right? If guru says that, it must be correct. All I have to do is align myself to that instruction or to that feedback. How I do it, that I'll work out, but I have to do it. So it is science. It has to be exactly in that track and very focused. So this is very important, that Narad Muni, he actually applauds Vyasadeva for putting such a wonderful effort for the welfare of everybody. And then in 4th, he says that you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as knowledge derived therefrom. So you have given, so Vedas, as we have understood by studying Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita. So Veda has what? It talks about everything. It talks about Brahman, it talks about Paramatma, and it touches upon Bhagwan. Everything is there, but there is more focus on Brahman and Paramatma, Gyan and yoga, right? So these two aspects have been given elaborately in the Vedas. So Narad Muni is saying, you have done that. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking you are undone, my dear Prabhu? Right? So here, Narad Muni is addressing Vyasadeva as Prabhu. Akritartha eva Prabhu. So because Narad Muni addresses Vyasadeva as Prabhu, we also address everybody else as Prabhu. But we should also deal with them as Prabhu.
Prabhu, yeah.
They are our, we are in a position, we should be in a position to serve them as representatives of the Supreme Lord, as our Prabhu. So, Inam Prabhu, my dear sir. So again, Narad Muni has asked the question. Then he's congratulated Vyasadeva, and then he's asked another question, which is again similar and saying, why should you feel despondent? Right? It's a bit of a rhetorical question because he knows the answer already, but he wants Vyasadeva to bring it out. So whatever dissatisfaction is there in his heart, he is inducing Vyasadeva to vomit it out so that he can come to his satisfied original position. So then Vyasadeva starts responding. Vyasa vacha eva me sarvam idam tvayoktam tatha vinatma paritushyate
me.
tanmulana vyaktam agada bodham prichhamahe tvatma bhavatma. Translation.
Sri Vyasadeva said, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. Despite all this, I am not pacified. I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. For you are a man of unlimited knowledge, due to your being the offspring of one, Brahma, who is self-born, without mundane father and mother.
So even, how we have to respond, Vyasadeva is telling us by his own example. So first he acknowledges the fact that, yes, what you have told about me is correct. So he's revealing his heart, because in his heart he has already concluded these on reflection. So when Narad Muni said this, he said, yes, Maharaj, what you have mentioned is actually correct. So he connects. He acknowledges that what the Guru has mentioned is actually the right diagnosis. First part. Then he says, despite the fact that I have actually done so much, I am not pacified. Therefore, as a result, he's requesting, I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. Please tell me. And it's the same situation Arjun had in chapter 2. Yeah. Prichhami. So he actually surrendered unto Krishna. And he told him that, please instruct me. Shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam, surrendered. So surrender to ask, to inquire. Because when you surrender and ask, then whatever is being told to us, we accept as is, and we just think how best I can apply. Otherwise, it becomes a social interaction where we are just talking for the sake of talking, asking for the sake of asking, and hearing for the sake of hearing. But there is no seriousness. There is no application. But when it comes in a more of a formal relationship where we hold this senior devotee in a high esteem and respect their opinion and are eager to hear them speak, then we become more serious about following that advice. And unless we follow, there is no point taking advice. So he's saying that, please tell me why am I dissatisfied? And then again, he glorifies, he asks that question, and then he asks more questions and moves into glorification of the spiritual master. Savai bhavan veda samasta guhyam upasito yad purusha purana paravaresho manasaiva vishvam srijat gunai sagraha.
My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature.
Then we'll do the other one also. It's again connected, 6 and 7. Tvam paryatannarka iva trilokim antascharo vayurivatma sakshi paravare brahmani dharmato vratahi snatasya menyu namalam vichakshva.
Like the sun, your goodness can travel everywhere in the three worlds, and like the air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. As such, you are as good as the all-pervasive super soul. Please, therefore, find out the deficiency in me, despite my being absorbed in transcendence under disciplinary regulations and vows.
So he's already asked the question first, right, Vyasadeva? In text 5, he has already said, please explain the cause of my dissatisfaction. Then again, he asked the question in 7. In between, he glorifies. Now, why is that? So first, he knows he's a spiritual master. He asks this question. But then sometimes, we have to tell our own self that my Guru Maharaj is great, that Krishna is great. We know about Krishna, we chant, we do everything. But sometimes we have to tell our own mind, hey, he's a Supreme Lord. He can do whatever he likes. And whatever he does is beneficial for me. Because our mind sometimes covers us. We know he's Krishna, we know he's the Lord, but then when it comes to situations like this, our faith becomes a bit less and we try and sort things our own selves. Is it not? But when we glorify the Lord, when we say some shlokas, when we recite some shlokas, when we hear another devotee glorifying the Lord, what happens to our faith? That faith that slowly kind of dwindles a little bit, suddenly comes up, just shoots up. Oh, why should I worry? We feel much more composed. So here also Vyasadeva asked this question, but then he glorifies the Lord. Why? To tell himself, of course he doesn't have to, but he's showing by his example that everything is known to you. You are the creator, destroyer, everything, maintainer of everything. You can travel anywhere. Why is he glorifying? He's glorifying to tell himself that this person is as good as a Supreme Lord. So whatever you tell me will be perfect. And whatever you tell me, I have to accept and follow. And then he asks the question again that in spite of my being absorbed in transcendence under regulations, please tell me what is the deficiency. Please tell me what's the deficiency. So by doing this, Vyasadeva is preparing the platform for Narad now to speak and give actual instruction. Just like in chapter 2 and end of chapter 1, Krishna spoke, right? Actually, chapter 2, Krishna spoke. Not 1. But before 2.7, he spoke. But he only spoke 2 lines and he did not instruct Arjun.
Just scolded Arjun.
Just scolded him. Exactly. Mataji remembers. He scolded him. Mildly took, like we say, slapped him a little bit. Called him by names, which is not very good. Klaibyam, if you remember.
Important.
Yeah, that is a big slap, no, for a Kshatriya. But he did not give instruction. He did not say what to do. Why? He waited. He waited till the point when Arjun said, Shishyaste ham sadhimam tvam prapannam. And then when Arjun surrendered, Arjun became receptive. Was Arjun not receptive before? If Krishna would have said something, would Arjun not have heard? Why did Krishna wait? Arjun would not have heard?
Because they were on friendly terms.
They were on friendly terms, but would Arjun not have been attentive?
But as a friend, you tend to,
take a bit lightly.
Lightly, yeah.
Yes, that is one reason. Another reason.
If one doesn't receptive, you cannot tell, you cannot advise.
Yeah, but Arjun was receptive in the sense that he would not have, Krishna was always close to him.
Mm.
It is just that, as Sukamala Mataji said, he was close to him as a friend.
Friend.
So he would have still heard him as a friend. But maybe that reverential attitude would not have been there. But he would have still been attentive as a friend. But because he was lamenting, his lamentation would have drowned his intention to take the word seriously. Is it not?
Yes.
Okay, supposing, we are very disturbed for some reason, like something has happened, somebody has told us something, and we feel very, very agitated from within. And when we feel agitated and some senior devotee or a friend tells us, or a devotee friend tells us, Prabhu, you should be doing this, will we be attentive?
No.
No.
Honestly, tell me.
Yes.
No.
Will not be attentive. Why? Is it because we are disrespecting the devotee?
No, because agitated mind.
Yes. So when we have an agitated mind, good advice will not go inside. It will stop. Not because we are disrespectful or that person is not powerful. Because of our own, it's like covering, if I cover my ears with an earmuff and then I say, yeah, Prabhu, what are you saying? Are Baba, my ear is covered, na? How will I hear? But that person does not know my ear is covered. Normal person will not know, but the Guru knows the ear is covered. So the Guru waits for you to finish off your lamentation, to finish off your agitation, to come to a platform where now you are calm and composed and you have surrendered. And you say, Bas abhi tum bolo, you just tell me, whatever you tell me, I'm ready to do, man. I'm just fed up.
Fed up.
That's the point Krishna waits for. That is a point of surrender. So here also, Vyasadev, Narad Muni, he said, oh, you're good, you've done that. Oh, by the way, this. Then Vyasadev says, please, you're the Supreme Lord, you know everything. Please tell me, why am I feeling dissatisfied? Then Narad Muni talks, which we will do next time. Okay?
Yes.
Next part of the serial, next week, same time, same day. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or anything somebody would like to share?
Just like normal people, they wait for their weekly TV serial, we will wait for their Srimad Bhagavatam serial.
Yes. Vyasadeva has given us such an important, empowered narration, which is infused by Narad Muni's own instructions. It's amazing. Thank you, Mataji. Thanks to all of you for coming together and making this happen. Narration of the Lord can only happen in the association of devotees. And
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your sincere effort to teach us what is Bhagavad talking about.
Yeah, also when we read, we cannot understand, we cannot get that so many points. But when you discuss, then we can highlight
correct.
the points. Yeah.
So it's good to get realization from devotees and have this interactive session. Like when you share, there's so many perspectives that we can assimilate and take away with us. Thank you very much.
Very nice class.
Okay, on that account, we'll conclude today.
Yeah, and we will again meet at 3 o'clock.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. So we have got our Prabhupada General's thing.
Okay, today we have the meeting. I don't know that.
Today, 3 to 4.
I about it.
It is actually, we had created a group for, it's an open group, but it is specifically for people who are inclined to preach systematically. So we had this group formed last year mainly to facilitate Kartik programs, so to inspire new preachers. But of late, last few months, there was not much activity, and then some devotees, they shared with me that we should do something about preaching. So we met 2 weeks back in this group, and we in principle discussed and decided that this group will now become a preachers group and a preachers training group. So whoever is there in the group, it is expected that they are either already preaching or they would be preaching very soon, whether it's online or face to face or whatever it is, Bhakti Vriksha, Namahat, doesn't matter. So we will now be treating this group as a preachers training session and a devotee Ishtagoshti session. I mean, like a, what should we say, devotee association. So because everybody is senior, they are mostly people who are finished Bhakti Shastri or are doing Bhakti Shastri and practicing for a while. So we'll take turns of everybody who's in the group, and each one of them will give a class every fortnight, a properly prepared class for half an hour. And then the other devotees who are in that group, they will give constructive feedback on what can the speaker do to make it even better and effective and powerful. So that way it gives a platform for actually preaching formally, and it also becomes a vehicle for them to get good feedback. Because normally when you give class in a more formal atmosphere, devotees are very, very conservative in giving comments. You only get good comments, but you don't get comments where you can improve on, unless you really know that devotee well and you have a relationship. Then they might say, because sometimes when you give feedback, they may feel offended. So this platform is, we tell people, the more criticism, constructive feedback you get, the better it is for you. Now, what you do, whether you take him on board or not, that is upon you and your service to Prabhupada, but at least a platform is there. So in future also, if anybody would like to preach and go through this proper training process, then they are most welcome. So today afternoon, 3 to 4, we have that training. So Kadam Kanan Prabhu will be presenting and giving some general tips on what are the good components of giving a good class. And then once people have got this, they'll have the opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll have a roster done today or in the next few days of people who will be giving classes thereon. So if anybody is keen, you're most welcome. I'll be sending the link. If you're not on the group, just let me know. I obviously need to add you to the group so that you get the updates. But I think most of you are there except Sukumala Mataji. Malati Mataji, you're there, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
I think only Sukumala Mataji is not there from this group, and Venkateshwar Prabhu is not there. Rest, I think everybody else is there in the group. So if you are keen, let me know. You can tell me now, or you can send me a text, and I'm quite happy to add you to the group.
Will you be sending the link of the recording?
Yes.
Because I'm working, I cannot be present on Saturday, 3 to 4.
Oh, okay. Right. Fine. That's fine. I'll send the recording.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. And yeah, just be in touch through the group or directly, either way. It's all a platform where devotees can help each other. That's all. That's the main focus. Okay. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki
Jai.